Alright guys, so I've got my STX Duel U, I've got my memory mesh, I've got about 7 or 8 feet of sidewall, probably more than you need, but I really hate to restring something because I cut it short, and doing a single string, just, I don't know, it's not worth it. Alright, so we're going to start with the top string, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4, go through the little mesh bridge here. It's kind of hard because there's a lot of string, but just gotta roll with it. Now we're gonna go both. We're gonna go both pieces through here, pulling it through, and then we're gonna go back through this loop. We started here. Going to form this nice little interlock, and now I'm just going to go through the top string. I go under the mesh here, back up. This protects the top string, this method, and just like regular now, we're going to go through right here, so not through the back, but go over and then only through the front part of the mesh. Get nice and tight. Now I'm going to go only through here, not through the whole thing, only through the front diamond, keeping it tight, putting it through the loop where it came. Alright, now to finish this, we're not going to tie a knot because it's single string. We don't want knots on the face-off head. So what we're going to do, we're going to go down through here, up through the last diamond. Then we're going to take it through the first hole. We're going to go back through the first hole, back through the first sidewall hole. Now we want to keep this nice and high, and this make the string nice and tight. Right here, good. And now just for extra security to keep it from getting loose, we're going to do the same thing again. Down through the mesh hole and up through the sidewall hole. Make sure that they lay flat next to each other like that. Boom, that's it. And now what we're going to do is we are just going to go into this next hole, and that's how we're going to start the sidewall pattern, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do this side, and then I'll start on the sidewall pattern tutorial. Okay, so I put the first few knots in on this side. Usually I'll do half of one side, the whole other side, and then back to the same side. So what we're going to do is we finished our top string, we went down through the next hole, and we're going to now wrap twice on the third hole. Sizzle. Alright, so on the first one after this, we're going to do an SI into the next hole. So down through the mesh, through the sidewall hole right here. It's the fourth sidewall hole, I believe. Back up through the mesh, and we just want to make sure that we get it to lay the way that we want it to, and keep it really tight. I like to keep my thumb here to keep it really tight. Then we're going to skip a hole, and we're going to do an SI into the sixth hole, I guess. I'm going to stop saying the numbers because I'm going to forget. But skip a hole. I keep that previous knot really tight, and go there, boom, another SI. Then without skipping a hole, next hole, another SI. Alright, now we've kind of got like our channel formed. The next hole that we're going to do 2 SIs in the same hole. So the way we do that is we go down, just like we normally would on an SI. Alright, and now we're just going to do the same thing. Down through the mesh hole, through the outside of the sidewall, back up through the mesh. Pull out the tension, pull it out. Alright, and that's what it should look like there. 2 in the same hole. And we're going to do the same thing on the next hole. So we're going to go down. That same thing. Now you're probably going to have to kind of pull it out. That's normal. We'll fix that a little bit more as we go. So now we're going to do an SI into the next hole. Again, we want to pull this mesh out so that it's all the way at the edge of the diamond. This looks a little funky now. It's going to look better in a second. Now we're going to do, this is a little detail. It's up to you whether you want to put it in. We're now going to do an empty interlock through that same hole. Just pushes that mesh diamond up a little bit. Now on this last one right here, we're going to do an empty interlock first, and then we're going to do an SI. Just like that. And then we're not going to go through any more mesh, but we are going to just go right out the last hole. Boom. Just like that. That's what it should look like-ish. It's going to look better once we put the other side in. So let me go ahead and do that real quick, and then we'll do the bottom string. Alright, so I went back, did the other side, cleaned it all up. I'm not very good at stringing on camera, so I redid a little bit of it. It should look like this. Looks pretty good. So you can tie it off like normal on that side, like I did on this side. Put in a cotton shooter if you want. But if you really just want one string, what you can do here is we'll take this one and we'll go down through the bottom, and then we're going to find the next 10 diamond row. I'm going to go up through the second one in. I'm going to go all the way across again to the second one in. And I want to tie this down pretty tight because this is the 11th 10 diamond row. Usually we only do, or usually I only do 10. So that looks good. It's not going to stretch too much more, the mesh. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up through this outside hole, and I'm going to go down through the same hole that I already cut in knot on. Struggling today. Don't have my pliers. All fucked up. Alright. So we're gonna go through there. Give it one more check before we tie it off. Maybe a tiny bit tighter. What do you think's gonna... Boom, that looks great. So I'm just gonna tie a simple overhand. I love this idea STX, but every time I string, the strings get all wrapped around it. So here's a look at it. See, I did have a bunch extra, but better safe than sorry. Boom, put shooters in, and you're ready to go. Alright, so a few final notes on this pocket. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but this pattern was done up originally by Josh, JM Strings, an awesome stringer. He started the Learn to String account, yeah, he thought this up. It's a great pattern for a head that's not so easy to string. Also, I didn't mention the reason that I want to keep this string going this way instead of tying them both in the middle is, as you can see, all my knots now are on the non-ground face-off side. I don't know how to say that. And also you can see here, I usually always go through the plastic on the nylon, and if I can on the shooter, and I didn't, just to have one less thing touching the ground. So that's it. Let me know what you think if you try this. The pattern works pretty well with other kinds of mesh, but memory mesh came with it, and it's great mesh. So yeah, let me know what you think, and thanks.